Free Africa. The solution is not migration to Europe, but freedom from certain Europeans. What if I told you that the real solution for Africa is not for millions to migrate to Europe, but for Africa to finally be free from the economic, political, and cultural grip of certain Europeans? What if the true liberation of Africa is not about leaving, but about staying and building? This is the conversation that Africa desperately needs today. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are diving into a deep and important subject. Free Africa. The solution is not migration to Europe, but freedom from certain Europeans. Now, when I say freedom, I'm not talking about the old-fashioned idea of colonial rule, because yes, many African nations are politically independent on paper. But the reality is that Africa is still not truly free. We see young people risking their lives on dangerous journeys to Europe. We see natural resources leaving the continent while poverty remains. We see leaders influenced or even controlled by outside powers. And we see a narrative that tells Africans, you can only succeed if you leave. But here's the truth. Africa doesn't need to export its people. It needs to free its potential. Every year, thousands of Africans attempt to cross the Mediterranean, facing unimaginable risks. Some make it, many don't. But even for those who arrive in Europe, life is often harder than the dream they were promised. Many end up in low-paying jobs, facing discrimination, and living as second-class citizens. Meanwhile, back home, Africa loses talent, loses energy, and loses innovation. The very people who could be solving problems, building businesses, and leading change are gone. This is called brain drain, and it is devastating. Africa doesn't need to drain its brains to Europe. Africa needs to use its brains in Africa. Let's talk money. Africa is one of the richest continents on Earth in terms of natural resources. Oil, diamonds, gold, cobalt, lithium, you name it, Africa has it. Yet Africa remains one of the poorest regions in the world. Why? Because raw materials leave the continent, but the profits don't. For example, cobalt from the Congo powers the batteries in European and American smartphones and electric cars. But the people digging it out of the ground live in poverty. The same story repeats with cocoa from West Africa, oil from Nigeria, and countless other resources. The wealth of Africa is still extracted by companies, often linked to European or Western interests, leaving little behind for Africans themselves. This is not freedom. This is economic colonization, hidden under contracts and trade deals. Now let's move to politics. Many African nations may have their own flags and anthems, but behind the scenes, outside powers still pull strings. Some European countries maintain military bases, special currency systems, or financial agreements that keep Africa dependent. For instance, in parts of West Africa, the CFA franc is still tied directly to the French treasury. That means those nations don't fully control their own money. Imagine being independent but not controlling your own currency. That is not freedom, it is financial chains. And when African leaders try to break free or act independently, they are often punished. We see sanctions, political pressure, or in some cases, support for coups and instability. Another chain is cultural. Young Africans are constantly told that opportunity lies in Europe, not at home. Movies, social media, even news headlines glorify Europe as the land of success. But think about it. Who benefits when Africa loses its best talent? Who benefits when Africans stop believing in themselves? It's the same powers that continue to exploit Africa's resources. The truth is, Africa's culture, history, and creativity are some of the richest in the world. African music influences global charts. African fashion inspires designers in Paris and Milan. And African entrepreneurs are building tech startups that rival Silicon Valley. The potential is already here. It just needs space to grow. So if migration is not the solution, what is? The answer is freeing Africa. Freeing African economies so that resources benefit the people, not outsiders. Freeing African politics from foreign control and corruption. Freeing African minds from the belief that success only comes from leaving. Freeing African unity by strengthening trade and cooperation within the continent, and freeing innovation by investing in schools, technology, infrastructure, in youth. When Africa controls its own destiny, it won't need to send people to Europe. Instead, people will come to Africa for trade, for culture, for opportunity. So let me say it again. The solution is not migration to Europe. The solution is freedom for Africa, from economic exploitation, from political interference, and from mental chains. Africa does not need to escape. Africa needs to rise. And that rise begins when Africans believe in Africa and when the world stops exploiting Africa. If this message resonates with you, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends and family. Let's spread the word. Africa's future is bright, but only if Africa is truly free. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.